All right. Well, it seems that a local priest and a pastor were fishing on the side of the road. And they thoughtfully made a sign saying, "The end is near. Turn yourself around now before it's too late." And showed it to each passing car. So one driver who drove by didn't exactly appreciate the sign and shouted at them, "Leave us alone. You don't know what you're talking about, you religious, nutty people." And all of a sudden, they heard a big splash, looked at each other, and the priest said to the pastor, "You think maybe we should have just said bridge out instead?" Okay. Minister humor. All right. So last week, if you were here, you know that we kind of officially completed our study of In the Flow of Life. Well, we're going to always be talking about the flow of life because the flow of life is, right? And we talked about how life comes to pass, and we talked about change in life. And as I was standing at the back door, there were a few of you that asked me if I would continue to talk about change some more, because these folks were going through change. Is anybody in this room going through change? Okay. All right, well, good. I mean, hopefully it's expansive change. So today I'm going to just expand on that conversation of change. So let's review a little bit. All right, so the nature of life is change. And so instead of embracing change, our human tendency is to go, whoa, push against it, right? We resist, because change most likely will bring uncertainty. We just don't know always what to expect. It can bring the unknown. And many of you know that my life before ministry was life coaching. I had a life coaching practice for quite a while. And I was always moved by people coming and wanting to talk about change, and I always saw myself in every client. We do that, don't we? We see ourselves in each other. And what I noticed that when we started talking about change was the quandary is we hate it and we love it. It's like we just really resist it and we push against it, but at the same time, we really want it. Because there's that part of us that knows that when change comes, it might feel uncomfortable, but on the other side of it, there's expansion. There's growth. Often there's transformation, right? So the thing is, though, because we know that, frequently we're in this push-pull relationship with change. We're being pulled toward change. Oh, I see the vision. I see how we could be better. We could grow. We could expand. But, oh, gosh, what's it going to take? I don't know. I don't think I want to do that. It might feel too much. So I'm sure many of you, too, have heard the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah, we can never change a conflict. We can never heal a conflict or a challenging situation from the same energy that created it. We just can't do that. So we're being called into embracing change, kind of whether we like it or not. But often what will happen when we don't resist change is that we can feel kind of rigid and inflexible. You ever notice that? And when we're pushing against change, we even are maybe a little controlling. Because we're trying to manage our world and it's changing, but we're trying to manage it. Yeah, I know. Not that I've ever had that issue. So when we do not embrace change, we thwart growth. We thwart creativity. We thwart authenticity. And when we thwart authenticity, what happens is distrust. And distrust always creates fear. And fear always creates drama. Yeah, so if we're experiencing drama in our life, we might want to look at where we're resisting change. Yeah. And also what happens when we do not embrace change is that, remember that beautiful flow that we talk about? That's always flowing. However, it's kind of like we're stepping on the hose. We're restricting that flow from fully expressing as our greatest good. Our good can be standing right in front of us, and we can miss it. And I have a story about that, taken from the movie Dumb and Dumber. I only bring you very deep, profound examples. Yes, the outrageous movie comedy Dumb and Dumber, where Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels play these two extremely goofy characters who are traveling cross-country in search of the women of their dreams. So after many adventures and disappointments, the duo finds themselves stranded on a desert road when all of a sudden a busload of women dressed in bathing suits, bikinis, pulled up. I don't know where. And three very beautiful, beautiful women step off the bus, and one greets one of the fellas and says, "Hi, we are on the Hawaiian Tropic Tanning Oil Tour. And we are looking for a couple of fellas to support us with our demonstrations. We need help applying the suntan oil." And this woman coyly asked, "Do you know where we could find these guys?" And one of the guys smiles and responds, "Sure, there's a town about 3 miles down the road." And disappointed, the women get back on the bus and leave the fellas in the dust. And the one fella complains to the other, "Look at that, Harry. Some guys have all the luck." See, when we don't open our mind to our worth and deserving.
It's even worse than that. You remember, then he chases after the bus, they stop, thinking that they changed their mind, and they goes, "Yes?" He says, "We got that completely wrong. The town is that way."
Okay, there you go. Oh my goodness. Okay, thank you, Jim, for that commentary. I think you get the point. Yeah, that when we don't open our minds, we can't change our minds about how we perceive things, our good can be standing right there in front of us, and we can miss it, can't we? We can miss it. All right, so playwright and Nobel Prize recipient George Bernard Shaw said this: "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." See, the thing is, as much as we might resist change, change is what has us grow. Change brings vitality, newness. It makes something dynamic. We don't want to be in a static world, do we? We want to be the nature of life. The nature of flow is always flow and moving and movement. But when we constrict that flow by not embracing change, things get very small. We have to embrace change if we want to grow as individuals in our communities. Change gets us out of our comfort zone and has us tap into ourselves in ways that we might not have ever tapped into ourselves. Has us be all we can be. But sometimes it doesn't look the way we think it's supposed to look. And we can feel like it's really not working toward our greatest good. See, change really does always flow toward our greatest good. But sometimes we can miss that because it doesn't look the way we think it's supposed to look. And there's a story of a king and an advisor on a journey through the jungle. And the king accidentally cut off his toe while chopping a coconut. The king's advisor immediately exclaimed, "That's wonderful. There's a blessing here." The king, angered at the advisor's flippancy, threw him in a pit and left him there. The next day, the king was apprehended by a band of headhunters who decided he would make a good sacrifice. But when the tribal priest noticed that his toe was missing, the headhunters released him as an imperfect specimen. Suddenly, the king realized that the advisor had been correct, and he returned to the pit and apologized profusely. "No apology necessary," said the advisor. "It was also a blessing that you threw me in this hole." "How is that?" asked the king, incredulous. "Because if I was with you, the headhunters would have taken me as the sacrifice." Yes. All right. So sometimes we just really have to open our mind, don't we? We have to open our mind to change in how it looks. Opening our mind to our thoughts, to our beliefs, especially the ones that limit us. You know, today in the Daily Word, we heard the Bible verse, "Be transformed by the renewal of your mind." I love that. Because in order for something to be new, it has to be changed. Transformation brings change. And now we've always heard, the caterpillar transforms into the butterfly. The nymph has to shed its skin in order for the dragonfly to emerge. The seed has to transform into the apple tree in order for the beautiful fruit to come forth. Change really is for us. It really is for us. And when we can open our mind to that, we can see that truly nothing and no one is against us. Everything is for our greatest good. As this story shared with us. And when we have an open mind, we are also receptive to new ideas instead of really staying stuck with the way things have always been. Yeah, we can get stuck in that, can't we? Because at least we know that. Maybe it's not even working that great, but at least we know that it's not working that great. Yeah, and so when we have an open mind, we're open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. And we also open our mind to spiritual discernment. We open our minds to the truth that wherever we go, wherever we are, and in any situation that we find ourselves in, we have an inherent wisdom that is always there to inform us and to support us. We have our own GPS, our own global positioning system. That when we allow it to inform our choices, we position ourselves to navigate the world with great wisdom, such that we can do so with clarity and confidence. And it supports us in moving beyond what-if thinking, the worst-case scenario shoulds, because we can know that in the midst of change, we can call forth our divine wisdom. And also, in the midst of change, I encourage us to open our heart to how we're feeling. As we open our heart, we can tap in to the love that we are. And we can access a loving heart flows with acceptance. And see, in the midst of change, sometimes it can be a stretch for us to accept what is. And when we tap into the love of our heart, we can ground in that love and allow ourselves to care. Because sometimes the only reason that we're resisting change just because we're attached, because it matters so much. And in the midst of change, it's a tendency for us to sometimes self-protect because it does matter so much, and we love and we care. But the Apostle Paul, I love this verse that he said, and as he wrote to the Ephesians, he said, I pray that the eyes of your heart will be enlightened. At the eyes of your heart, when we're enlightened, light shines on a new idea. We're illumined. There's change. That the lens of our heart, when we can see through the lens of the seed of our love, we can navigate through change, knowing we're okay. When we can navigate change from our love, it's an open space versus a constricted space from fear, isn't it? There's an old adage that says, circumstances do not make the person, they reveal the person. And so let us, in circumstances of change, let us allow change to expand us instead of constrict us. Let us allow change to be the opportunity for us to keep our minds open to new ideas, to know, to keep our mind and heart open to the truth that our inherent wisdom is always going to guide us as we allow it. And that life is always, always flowing toward our greatest good. It cannot not do that. And to trust from our great love that truth as we keep our heart open and our mind open. So this week, I just invite you to spend some time in the quiet and just reflect, where am I resisting change in my life? And to be gentle with yourself as you ask that question, and to allow yourself to be open to your wisdom informing you. What is mine to do? What is mine to do to fully embrace change? What is mine to do to keep my mind open to new ideas and to keep my heart open? And to know that I know that I know that my good, my greatest good, is always assured. So I just invite you to do that because I'll be doing it this week with you. So let's affirm our affirmation together. As I open my mind and heart, I trust, allow, and make room for the greatest good to unfold. And so it is.